Good morning and welcome back to the Radical Vision for Disability show. Yes, I slur my words because I have a disability. That disability comes from a brain injury, genetic brain issue. So we're going to talk a lot about many issues that we all have, and how important it is to embrace those issues and to understand what we can still do, and we shouldn't limit ourselves because we are limitless. I'm just so thankful, so glad you're so happy you're here with us, because we have a great show lined up for you for today. We're going to bring on a number of people from the National Sports Center for the Disabled. So we have them waiting in the wings. I'm going to bring them on here in a second, but before we do that, I also want to tell you about some shows we have coming up here next week. Not anymore this week, but next week, where we have a special guest of the show leading us, because I am going to be on vacation next week with my family in Lake Norris, Tennessee. So, wow. Without any further ado, I want to bring on our friends from the National Sports Center for the Disabled. And there they are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and last but not least, 7. Awesome! Oh, I'm so appreciative of you all being here. This is phenomenal.
Hey, Brian.
How are you?
That energy, Brian. We're excited to be here. I'm glad you're so fired up. We're fired up.
Oh man, I love it. Very cool. So normally we kind of kick things off with one question. So the one question that I want to ask is, what? Just one person take this. So what do you do?
I'll take this first one.
All right.
The National Sports Center for the Disabled provides a whole continuum of adaptive outdoor recreation experiences for anyone, any age, living with just about any disability. So we have over 20 different sports, from alpine skiing, Nordic skiing, kayaking, whitewater rafting, therapeutic horseback riding, rock climbing, and the list goes on.
Literally.
Yes.
If you want to hear more, stay right there. welcome back. So I'm in awe of what you do. It's pretty incredible. So tell us, how do you do that? How do you manage to help people with disabilities do the sports that you do? For me, I mean, I know how hard it is to convince sometimes people that love me, how I can convince them to allow me to do things that I normally wouldn't do. And I mean, it's hard because sometimes you don't really know what to experience and you don't know what you're going to experience. And sometimes you feel like you're in danger of doing that. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I could take this one. I want to say, Brian, I think the big first thing for us is we hear people get a lot of no's, and we're yes people. Like, we're going to figure out a way to make it happen. And when somebody asks us, like you says, I want to go and do something exciting, we're going to be the first ones to say yes instead of no. And I think that's what separates us from a lot of other organizations is we're going to figure out a way to do it. And that may be building something that's never been built before, creating an idea, coming up with an idea that's never been thought about before, concepts, design, and then implementation in a safe way that got us to yes. That's the difference. And we're already, all the people you see on the screen are already kind of yes sort of folks and want to get to yes. And I think that's the big difference with us. Yeah.
Incredible. I can see from my perspective having anxiety about doing certain things. So, right now my vision in my right eye is pretty much gone, but in the left eye I'm 20/30, but it's hazy and sometimes it doesn't always open the whole way. So how do you get people? Yes, I understand you need to get them to say yes, but how do you get them past their fears? Because I mean, I would be scared out of my wits. I snow skied once in college, and I was terrible at it. I went downhill, went way too fast, and I ended up tearing up my knee, and it was awful. So I haven't skied since then. How do you get somebody past that fear?
So I think one thing that I love about our organization is that we are really here to connect with the people that come and do our programming with us. So what are you nervous about? What part of participating in this makes you the most anxious? And then we'll have a plan to mitigate any safety concerns. So making that any person who comes to participate with us a part of that plan. What can we do to make you feel better? All of our programs are different. We're going to individualize how we implement that to that specific person and what they want to get out of that. And so part of that is knowing what they're nervous about, knowing that we have a plan to keep people safe and what that plan is.
Okay. Hey, thank you for that. Marge, is it?
Yes.
I love your name.
Thank you.
So Jill, I'm sorry. Kim, would you respond to Jill Sullivan's question?
Sure. So down below there, it says where and how do people get involved in this? The easiest way is to go to our website, which is nscd.org. And there you can see how you can become a participant, how you can volunteer, how you can become a donor or a supporter. We have a virtual event coming up that people could get involved in and learn more about our organization and the people that make it happen. So lots of different ways. But we are located in Colorado, and our programs are provided up and down the Front Range and across Grand County.
Oh, that's great. So there's the website. Is that the right spelling?
That's right.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Yes. Day before vacation, and I've still got it.
Yeah, you're still in the game, Brian. Nice work.
Nice.
Got his head in the game.
That's good. So we haven't really talked. We talked a little bit about National Sports Center for the disabled, but we haven't talked about specific people on this panel. So Kim, would you tell us who everyone is?
Sure, I'd be happy to introduce everybody. So my name is Kim Easton, and I am the CEO of the National Sports Center for the Disabled. And I have the privilege of having also some of our program team here. So up at the top, we have Josh Thurman, and he is the program director for our Front Range programming. Joe Zeiser is a program supervisor in the Denver and Metro Front Range area. We also have Kate Sachs, who is the director of our mountain location programming, and Jen Gold and March Fetzinger are both program supervisors up in the mountains. So it's a nice mix of the people that are on the ground implementing these programs and those of us that are in some of the other chairs making it all happen.
Wow. So let me ask, what do you feel like one of the most memorable stories you have coming out of some of these experiences?
I can take this one. Brian, I was just reading this in one of our manuals today, actually, that we're working on. But we had a participant who was a veteran, and he, direct quote, said that our program saved his life. He was talking about being on a lazy boy one day, and you know, his next big event in life, according to him, was going to be to die, and that really, unfortunately, was his reality in his mind. He discovered our program and took over a dozen lessons with us this past winter, snowboarding lessons. Got really attached to the sport and bought his own equipment and is just excited about life and coming back and, you know, getting that passion for the outdoors and for life in general. So that to me was a really, really impactful story and participant that I got to work with this winter.
Yeah. So how does that make you feel?
Well, I'm not going to cry on the show, but I could cry.
I'm crying.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so humbling. It's really, really impactful in the sense of, you know, our program is doing that for people, you know, and to us, we do it every day. So it is a big deal, but not in the sense that it can be for other people and change their life and give them purpose. So it's really, really moving.
Great story, Jen. Anybody else have a memorable story?
I feel like we have a million. I think Jen, I would echo Jen's sentiment about it happens all the time, and you know, you just kind of wake up one morning and go, wow, really, things really changed for that person, even though it's happening constantly. But I wanted to talk about one person that came to us that was in a similar place, and she discovered kayaking, much like skiing, and changed her entire life. You asked about Brian had got us ready in the green room to talk about this kind of thing, and you know, she went on to completely revolutionize her life, changed her job, changed everything, decided to go into outdoor recreation, and she was right on the edge. She was in the same place, like just really in a bad spot, and decided to become a kayaker professionally, like just go out and teach kayaking and rock climbing, and worked for the NSCD. And it's a pretty amazing story to go from where she was in that dark place to actually working for the NSCD. So kind of a crazy revolution in her life.
Yeah. That's incredible. The stories you must have beyond that, and those two are phenomenal. So I think of how we all have stories like that. We all have the ability to share our awesomeness with other people. But we're all awesome. You're all awesome. So I know it's important for us to share those stories, but how do we convince people that they are awesome? And for example, those people that you help, the disabled people, you know, how did you convince them to do that? How did you convince them to step out of their comfort zone? And you know, was there psychology? Was there different practices and procedures you put in place, or how did you do that?
Hey,
Well,
Brian,
I was gonna say-
I'll
yeah, go
take
ahead.
I'll take
There you go.
this one on.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I would have to say through my competition program, it's done a lot through peer pressure. I mean, there are a lot of athletes that I have that come to the program from around the world that want to compete in the international Paralympics. And those people go out there and they show them. So they're skiing underneath the lifts. They're out on the Nordic track. They're snowboarding, and people are watching them. And then all of a sudden they see them and say, "Well, if he can do that, why can't I do that?" And they're out there and they're being shown that they're no different than anybody else, and they want to bring they want to experience that. So when you see somebody in a mono ski come down underneath the lift and they're going 35 to 45 miles an hour, and they're saying, "Oh, he's in the sit ski and he's skiing faster than I can," or somebody with a disability that might be in a lesson. Seeing one of those athletes, they get really motivated. They like to see that, and they want to move forward, and they want to challenge themselves. So in a sense, it's peer pressure.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, Brian. Sometimes we're bullies too. Like I'll go to somebody's house and I have been known to go to people's houses and be like, "You're going out with us. Get off the couch. We're going."
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that.
That's good. I love it.
Yeah, our goal is to put people in kayaks and get people on rock climbing and people skiing, and if that's what it takes to get people going, we'll do it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think sometimes though it's just as simple as having the opportunity, right? So particularly for our younger athletes and our families, if we live in Colorado, right? So most of us live here because we love the great outdoors. We want to be out, being active, enjoying the beauty of nature because it has so many therapeutic impacts just by being out in nature and being active. And so just the National Sports Center for the Disabled builds that bridge for families who may have a family member with a disability, and the reminder that they can go out and still do all of those types of activities. And sometimes it takes our partnership with them just that one time so that they're like, "Oh yeah, I can do this." A guy, a hosted camping or a hosted hike guide, just so that they feel comfortable. And some families need support from us all forever. Like the individual is just at a level where they need that extra help. And so we're just here to fill that gap however that's needed. But I think it's about, our new hashtag and our brand is rethinkability. And I think that just applies to all of this. It's about just planting that little seed that if we just rethink a little bit about what ability means and how much ability every individual does have, even if they're facing something that's difficult.
Yeah. Well,
We're building a social construct too, Brian. I mean, that's a huge piece of what we do is to build those social networks, especially the program staff and Eric's staff. They're building teams and friendships that are forever. And you asked about changing lives. One of the most important things we do is interact in the community and create communities for our athletes to do things. So they're really, if they were isolated, if they were siloed in some way, to come out and find a new sport and find a new friend, I think that's pretty big. That's really what changes people's perspective, I think, is that there are people who love you and care about you and want to hang out with you and do cool stuff with you. I almost cursed. I didn't do it.
Hey, Kate, building off of that, can you share a little bit about Stella and Georgia and their story? Because I think it's such a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really unique things about our program. If you come up here on a Saturday, it's really like just a huge family. That's when a lot of our regular participants who sign up for the entire season will be here every Saturday for a lesson. They really get to know each other. And one of the really unique things that came out of it is we have a couple of girls who are the same age, and their skiing level is pretty equal. So we kind of started a Saturday girls club, and they get to go out and ski together, and they'll have different themes and play different games. And that friendship has grown, and their families are now getting together and doing activities together throughout the year. And it's really amazing to see. But these girls just come in, they know all of our instructors. It's like they own the place. They'll just sit down and talk to whoever. And it's really incredible interactions that they might not have anywhere else because this is their place.
That's cool.
Hey, Brian, I mean, really what we're doing is we're creating a culture. The culture is, you know, in my competitive world, I mean, I have athletes that are going to go to the Paralympics, they're going to win medals. But also we have athletes that are there just for being part of a team, being part of the family, and being and that's the culture that we build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible. How many different athletes do you train? And before we go to that, let's answer Jill's question here about, are you just in Colorado?
The National Sports Center for the Disabled is physically just located in Colorado, and our programs run here. But there are adaptive outdoor recreation organizations all across the country that are doing fabulous and similar work to ours. In Utah, you would be probably wanting to look at either Wasatch or the National Ability Center. So there are really great options all across the country. But you can also come to Colorado and participate in our program here. We do have quite a few of our participants that come from out of state and around the world to participate in our programs.
And what location in Colorado are you at?
We have programming in the Front Range, so out of our Denver office, and then we also have programming in the Winter Park and Grand County area out of our Winter Park Resort office.
Okay. I'm geographically illiterate when it comes to Colorado, so I don't know exactly where all that is, but I'm sure it's not too far from one another, right?
That's right. We are pretty centrally located at a pretty easy day trip from Denver.
Okay, good. Wow. So I'm going to ask, and this is lingering in the back of my mind. So, what's the worst thing that's ever happened?
In terms of running a program, in terms of running our programming?
In terms of, and maybe I shouldn't ask that because that's a very negative question. But I mean, the Brady cat in me, wants to know, okay, what's the worst that can happen?
I would push
in terms of the program.
Yeah,
I would push back and say anything can happen. I mean, you could go outside, and I think that's a tough question because for outdoor athletes, especially, we don't. I mean, that factor, that question is a moot question, to be totally honest, Brian. Like I think driving my car is more dangerous than rock climbing, to be totally frank. And so, I'd push back on that question and say, is it any safer to go outside today, to get out of your bed?
Yeah, there's obviously inherent risks in doing any sort of outdoor recreation, but it is our job and our expertise to put every safety protocol into place that is required and at the level that's needed depending on the individual's specific disability. So whether that is a child that might have a seizure disorder, making sure that they have a safety harness and they're clipped onto a chairlift. It might be, I'm trying to think of some other adaptations and maybe program people can jump in. But we really look at each individual coming in the door and making sure that every specific safety protocol that's needed to keep them safe is in place.
And bringing in professionals who truly can keep you safe. I mean, we focus highly on having such a highly skilled staff that we know how to make those safety protocols work in the field. I think that's an important aspect.
So you work with all disabilities?
True.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a question.
Yes, we work with. I can't think of a disability that we haven't been able to find a way to accommodate what their needs are. So that could be everything from physical disabilities, from visual impairment to people with paraplegia and quadriplegia to amputations and limb deficiencies, and then all the way through the gamut of behavioral, intellectual, and emotional issues.
Do you have any camps where you have not just stuff during the day, but you have a camp at night? So, for example, if I wanted to come there and spend a weekend there, do you have something like that?
Okay, you want to talk a little bit about our camps in a typical year? It's a little off right now with COVID and all, but
Yeah, right.
So in a typical year, we do have several camps that we sponsor, as well as several groups that come here, for a week. Several children's hospitals from other states. They'll come up every year, stay for a week, ski with us, do different activities during the evening. We partner with several different other organizations like Shining Stars. They'll bring a group up every year. And then we also host probably 4 veterans camps every year, 2 in the winter, 2 in the summer, as well as we call them our adult summer woods camp. And we do 3 of those typically in the summer. They'll come up for a week. We also do therapeutic horseback riding camps. Again, that's usually 3 to 4 days or over a weekend. So we'll have activities during the day and then do regular kind of campfire activities during the evening. We may be sleeping in lodges or out in tents. Really a great experience.
Out under the stars.
Out under the stars, they're beautiful.
I love that.
That's you, Brian. That's you. Come on.
Come on out.
Yeah.
come on out.
All right. That sounds pretty cool. I love that.
Hey, Brian, Joe is our newest program partner, and I think it might be interesting to hear from him why he has recently joined this team and what he's excited about.
Yeah, please, Joe.
Yeah, sure. I'm new, so I'm enjoying listening to everybody else's perspective and just absorbing. But talking about camps, before I became an employee of NSCD, I was a participant at the Veterans Winter Camp. So I am now recently retired, 24 years Army, and having participated, it gave me a whole new perspective on what it is this organization does and organizations like it do. And I basically became a believer, right? So I'm not only out there evangelizing the works of NSCD and other organizations like us, but I want to be a part of it, and I am now. So I think, the camps, like Kate outlined for us, to go back to Jill's question earlier, that is a great way for people to participate if you live out of state, right? Come and join us and spend the week or the weekend and bring the family. Right, bring everybody and make it a family event. We would love to see that. I know that when I participated, we had people from New York, people from Idaho. We actually had a guy from Utah, it's just such a good time. And one of the big philosophies that I carry is that, generally speaking, things that are easy do not have much value. So that's sort of the environment that I like to foster when running a program, is we can progress with the difficulty and the challenge and expose you to something you may not have even thought was possible. So the reward for that risk, so to speak, there's a direct ratio in my mind. And I love seeing people smile when they accomplish something they didn't even know they could do. So that's a big deal for me. I love that. That's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool. And thank you for your service, and thank you anyone else that's a part of the panel that's served in the military. So thank you.
A pleasure.
So is this all your full-time job?
Mhm.
Yes.
Wow.
And then some.
And then some.
It's a pretty cool job. I mean, you know.
It sounds pretty cool. I mean, I think about with stuff that I do at the School for the Blind, and I draw parallels to that because that's kind of where my head's going, and it's still just so rewarding. I learned so much more from them than I ever could have taught them or helped them or whatever. So it's been life changing for sure.
I think everybody on the panel would agree with that. I get way more out of it than I feel like I put in, and I put in a lot, but I feel like I get so much more out of it every day. It's awesome.
So
yeah, we always say once you're part of the NSCD family, you're always a part of the NSCD family because it just gets in your blood.
you suck them in.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I know I only typically go a half hour on this show. Do you mind sticking around for a little longer?
No, that works for me.
Okay.
Like,
Well, thank
all
you.
yours.
So tell me about what's your favorite experience that you've had?
Joe, Brian, one of my favorite experiences was, I've been to 4 different Paralympic Games. I started with the National Sports Center for the Disabled in 2005, so I was able to go to opening, closing ceremonies of the Paralympic Games in Italy, Vancouver, Sochi, and then also in Pyeongchang, and then this winter we're going to Beijing. So some of my favorite ones are just watching the athletes that we've worked with. Even getting medals and watching the flag raise, and seeing how emotional they are about the fact that they put this time and effort, and then they're being able to watch the flag and hear their national anthem. It doesn't matter whether they're coming from the United States or New Zealand or even other countries that come from around the world to this program to train, but to see how emotional they can be, and just knowing that that they've done their best and they've received that award, and they've achieved their goals and their dreams, and to me it was it's very emotional for me because I've lived with it. They're part of my family, and to see the accomplishment that they've achieved, and then being able to show that to the world, that was really special to me.
Yeah, you can't put that on a resume.
No.
To piggyback off of that, in a different realm of competition, I coordinated the Special Olympics program for 2 winters, and similar thing. We had a participant who didn't successfully turn around a gate in practice one time. She got to the competition and she got a gold medal. And I can picture her standing on the podium with her gold medal with the biggest smile on her face. And so seeing that accomplishment is huge on the Special Olympics side as well.
I was going to say something a little more pedestrian, but it's there was a kid that we were working with at the lake who was really afraid to get in a boat. He climbed down the dirt. I mean, this happens so often, Brian. It's kind of a funny thing, but he climbed down towards the shore, paddled the boat, and came out of the boat, and you saw the light bulb go off. Like he realized that life was not what he thought it was. Like everything changed in that moment. And like he looked up, and I talk about it a lot because it was a weird moment. I mean, we see it all the time, but this was just like it's so obvious that he looked up, and he looked at me, and he just like you could see in his eyes that everything was different. Like life that he thought he was going to have was not that life, and kind of mind blowing because you don't have like those epiphanies. Those moments are rare, and it was a true peak outdoor experience that revolutionized the way he thought, and you saw it right in his eyes. It was amazing. He didn't say anything. It happens a lot to us.
So witnessing that kind of transformation, what does that do for you?
Oh, gosh, that's why we show up.
Yeah.
That's why we come to work every day, I think. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but that's why I come to work every day.
Mark, say something about that. I'd love to hear from you.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about how I feel like all of the experiences kind of build on each other. And so then when you're getting people coming in like, I don't know if I can do this, and I never thought anything like this would be possible, we can reference other people with similar situations. Like just last week, someone in a really similar situation came in and they fell in love with this piece of equipment. Do you want to try that? And I just think every day is so special. Jen and I, being program supervisors in the mountains, are really lucky that we get to kind of ski around and check on all the different alpine lessons that are going on. And so there could be a day that you go out and you're getting to see a mono skier link turns on a blue run for the first time. And so you're taking these really fun, fast, high adrenaline laps with them. And then you kind of go down and check on the lessons in the beginner area, and someone just clicked into skis for the first time. And that is just equally as exciting. And so I think the big moments are so special and so important, but I also really cherish those small moments of people walking into NSCD for the first time and just feeling the supportive environment. And I just love watching people experience that for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Anybody else have thoughts on that? Sorry, I can't see you right now.
I think one of my favorite moments is, we'll often call past participants to see how they're doing if we haven't seen them for a while. And one of my favorites is we called a family, and the mom was almost in tears talking to us, and she's like, "Oh, you don't understand. We're not coming anymore because you did so well that our son is now skiing with us, and we're skiing with the family and going all over the state." It's those moments where people have grown from our program and are now doing these things independently or with their social group. I think those are incredible moments too.
Every day is a great day.
Yeah. Isn't that a good place to be?
Very grateful.
Yes.
Anybody care to talk about what's the most what is the most interesting, at least to you, way that you ended up at the NSCD?
I can take this one on. I went to school for therapeutic recreation, and so your last semester of school is an internship. And I knew that I wanted to do something different, something completely out of my comfort zone. I was living on the beach in North Carolina and decided to go to the mountains of Colorado. So full 180 degrees.
Yeah.
And I honestly, my plan was to just finish my degree and then get married and never really work. And then I did my internship at NSCD, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I've been here for 5 years ever since, and don't really, it's my number one priority. It is what brings me the most joy and happiness in my life. So I never thought I would find a job that I genuinely want to do every day. And I found that just from my undergrad internship, and it completely changed my life for the better.
So you got married at NSCD?
Yep, pretty much. It's all my time, all my attention.
Yeah. Huh. Well,
Hey,
this has been...
Brian, I had another one as well too. I mean, I grew up as a competitive ski racer myself, and I had aspirations to go to the Olympics. I then evolved into coaching, and I worked with the U.S. able-bodied ski team. And I came from the able-bodied world, and I came to this program, and I really thought it was a kind of providence for me. I walked into the locker room. Somebody had encouraged me to come and help out, and I didn't think that this adaptive skiing was anything like what I was used to in coaching regular Olympic athletes. And quite honestly, I'll say that I had a 180-degree turn in my life that day, where it changed it, and the level of appreciation and respect that I was getting from these athletes, because they were so hungry to learn and to be normal again, in the world of competitive sports. It changed my life, and then 19 years later, I'm still here, and so that changed me dramatically in the way that I viewed adaptive sports, coming from an able-bodied world, and basically, that was the epiphany that I had in my life right there.
I'm going to tell you, Brian, I'll tell mine too, just because it's a little different. But I grew up in special education. I have a diagnosis. My best friend is deaf. And I got tired of people telling me I couldn't do things, or I was going to be this, or I was going to be that. Now I'm going to cry. I don't like that. And it really hurt. It hurt when I was a kid. And so I always said I was going to give back. And actually I was working at the DA, and I'm almost crying. I'm not going to cry. I was at the DA's office in Denver, working to support victims of crime, and seeing people on their absolute worst day of their lives. And I woke up one morning and was like, I want to see people on the best day, and I want to help people like me to get to yes, and do whatever they want to do. And that's how I got the opportunity to come to the NSCD and changed everything. So yeah, it's hard to hear people tell you can't do things. It hurts. And so I don't want that for anybody. Sorry.
No. So how do we get to a more inclusive and diverse world?
I think exposure is number one. So you asked a couple of times kind of at the beginning is how do we get people to do this? And we can't change anybody's mind, or we can't make them do anything. The best we can do is offer programs, offer high quality programs, and expose people to this world. Because I think the more that folks understand what possibilities are out there, the more likely they are to try it. And with our competition team, it's been really neat to see mainstream media start covering the Paralympics a little bit more. And as Kim mentioned, there's programs across the U.S. So I think it boils down to just exposure, keep grinding, keep doing what we're doing, so that more and more people can see that anything is possible. We can do it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that the United States Olympic Committee all of a sudden changed their brand, and now that they're the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and that's how they present themselves on commercials now, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's about rethinking ability, Brian. We got to get that message out there, right? And we can transform lives at an individual level. We transform lives at a family and caregiver level. We transform lives at a community level, whether that's I think somebody referred to it earlier, when you see people on the slopes, or you see people on a river with a disability, and you might be able-bodied, that image in itself changes and helps people rethink ability. How we have athletes portrayed in the media and in magazine commercials, and it's changing, and we just have to keep spreading the word that the work that you're doing in terms of providing this kind of information. That's how we change the world.
I'm so glad and happy to be whatever small part of it that I am. So yeah, this has been great. Are there other questions that I should be asking you all that I haven't asked yet?
When are you coming out?
What's that?
When are you coming out?
That's not a question for me. I'm gonna be in Vegas in July.
We're not that far away.
Yeah,
that's pretty close.
Well, now I need to put that on my calendar somehow. My wife is going to kill me.
Bring her.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We
So
will keep you safe, Brian. I hear a theme here. We will keep you safe.
yes, convince my wife of that, and you'll be doing pretty well.
Yeah.
We can do it.
All right. Well, let's work on that, and we'll make it happen. Because I have 4 years ago when I started the School for the Blind, I was sitting in the conference room by myself, and the principal for the school walked into the conference room. She's totally blind. I was new there, but I was afraid. I'm not. What do I do? I mean, should I make a noise so she knows I'm here? Because I was afraid she was just kind of come in and sit down, or I don't know what I was afraid of. But I had this stigma attached. Even a guy that has visual impairments himself, I had a stigma attached to someone that's blind, and I didn't know what to do. So just being with her and with the other people at school has helped me to get past that stigma. But I know a lot of people have that stigma, visually impaired or cerebral palsy or quadriplegic or deafness or pick a disability. I mean, we all have, not we all have, many people have stigmas that they associate with those disabilities. So I want to be able to help people get past those stigmas. And maybe stigma is not the right word, but I want to help people to know what's possible. Yes, the persons with disabilities, that's one thing, but I also look at it from the neurotypical side as well. I want to convince those people that, we're here and we're here for a reason, and we're not going away. So don't put us in a corner. We're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to have fun doing it, and we're going to compete, and we're going to do this. So yeah, competing for us looks different than competing for national NCAA titles, but we're still competing, and it means everything. So
Doesn't feel different. It may look different. It may look different, but it doesn't feel different. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It feels good.
And I
Brian,
think you're
what-
accomplishing your mission here, Brian, by like giving us the opportunity to talk about our programs, because it goes back to exposure and letting people see what we do. So we just so appreciate you having us, and yeah, I think you're on the right track for sure.
All right. Well, thank you.
Brian, I'll quote one of my visually impaired athletes: "If you can't see, don't look."
That's good. That's good. If you can't see, don't look. Well, thank you. Thank you all for being on. This has been great. The best way to spend an hour is with people that are impacting lives every day.
Yeah. Well, we love what we do. We love to tell our story. Thanks for giving us a platform to do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna wave you off, but you can go and sit in the green room if you don't mind for a second, and I'll come back and talk with you a little bit. But I'm gonna close out the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thank you. Is there anything you want to leave them with before we wave you off?
Everything's possible. Just get out there and do it.
Rethinkability. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Wow. What a great show. You know, there's so much that we can all learn from the NSCD. They're doing great work, and we need to support them in any way that we can. So I appreciate them being on. We've got a great show lined up for you next week. Yes, next week I'm going to be on vacation, so it's probably going to be better. But Dave Caperton is going to lead the show. I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but don't hold me to that because I want to leave him open in case something goes bump in the night. But look forward to seeing Dave next week, and I will see you a week after that, or a week from next Monday. So thank you all very much. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And, oh, by the way, and if there's ever anything that I can do for you, please let me know. I'd love to be able to help in any way that I can. And as always, keep one eye on the road. Take care. Bye.